Hello, and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hi, hello, how are my darlings, my royalty, my amazing everyone? Okay, so let's get some boiling hot, scorching. Just to the brim, like volcano level hot tea. If you like it cold, just hold the ice. Hold the ice. But okay. Let's get right into things because, I have a lot on my mind. And once again, uh, Chris, leave me alone. Stop messaging me. Okay, okay. And and the sad news with this one, I want to put the screenshots as is so you can see the exact dates of everything, but I have to edit that because I have to respect their privacy, and so I'm going to have to at least blur out their username and stuff like that. So, but or at least part of the username. But you will see, I don't know how many screenshots of this guy just, hi, hello, talk to me. Why don't you talk to me? I want another chance. Give me another chance. It's like, I like you. You're too sexy. That was the problem. Why do you have to be so good looking? Just, and how dare you blame me for the idiotic things that you did, but then because he did the same thing over and over and over again. So, but anyways, okay. Yeah, I will tell that story pretty soon, but yeah, absolutely awful and stupid, and why a lot of women choose the bear. That's why he's an example of why we choose the bear. But anyway, oh, ladies, we need to come together. It's really amusing some of the female villains in my life, because sometimes they're villains with me when because of their breakup, because of their divorce, because of their separation. And a lot of the times they're the ones that chose it. But then they want to be my villain, or they want to try to destroy me when, what in the what? It's so confusing. But okay. Okay. Let's just, yeah. Sometimes I just wonder why we can't be happy for one another, period. But it's just crazy how either conservative women or religious women are against feminist or liberal or even Republican or MAGA, or conservatives are against more Democrat, progressive, liberal women, or untraditional women, or just like some people who judge the polygamy or polyamorous or the traditional style or LGBTQ, or it's just or people who want kids, don't want kids. We judge them, but then we judge them in a whole different way compared to men. And there are some exceptions, especially with trans women and the trans community, period, and even parts of the LGBTQ. There are exceptions where they get judgment that I I kind of can relate to, but it's different, but like in a way the same if you look at the history of the torment, the judgment, and the threats and things like that. So, and that's one reason why I try to pour out love to that community, because I love and adore them dearly. And I have so much empathy and sympathy and compassion because, especially with the struggles of African Americans and the history of us always having to either prove ourselves or prove ourselves out of the stereotype and things like that. So, but women, ladies, If men don't judge themselves this hard, why do we keep doing it? Because, okay, especially for women who don't want kids. Because I will never forget when, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene and I believe Lauren Boebert both, and at different times though, they were judging women who, like, that Marjorie Taylor Greene was just like, well, oh, that's your stepchild? Well, then you're not really a mother. And I remember I watched that so many times because, like, people, like, the conservative side says so many times, all lives matter. And then they talk about children. And then there's so many children up for adoption and foster. And that's one of my goals. Like, once I get, like, begin, yeah, a lot of you guys already know if you've been listening. If you haven't been listening, guess what? You have over 600 episodes, over 300 hours of me. Yay. And you have my Patreon too. Check that out. Check out my Patreon because, oh baby, when I say I have receipts, I have receipts. I have receipts for days, and I still have so much more to post. Sadly, or not sadly, because I mean I love that I have so much more, but then I have to do the work of the so much more, and on top of the novel and greeting cards and candles and yeah. So, but yeah, check that out. But I just think it's like sometimes when I hear from the Conservative Party, I hear them questioning or putting down women who don't want kids. It's to me, I'm like, you don't do this with men? Because do you know how many times on dating apps I have seen men say they don't want any kids? It's like, because either like on Bumble, it's that, like, you can have the option of saying that you don't want kids. But then there are so many men who go over and beyond. And in their description, they say, if you have kids, swipe left. I don't want any kids, and I don't want your kids. And how come men are allowed to do this? Only men are allowed to do this. But then we have men who decide on women's rights with women's bodies. And men want to go without the rubber all the time, but then when the woman gets pregnant, oh, they want to blame her or say they want to say she's irresponsible and all this other stuff. And hold up, wait a minute. What about the guy? What about the dude? What about, the jerk? Yeah, I mean, like, and then a lot of schools don't want to teach on how babies are made. And so some men want to act like I didn't know. I thought that if she was on her cycle, I thought if she was this and that or whatever. Shut the crap up, boy. Okay, because now you have no excuse. You have like, oh, and a lot, like, well, I would say there's so many adult sites on here now where, like, but at the same time they're faking. It's like, yeah, no, anyway. But yeah, that one alone gets on my nerves because women should have the right to choose. And to some men, like that one, in my opinion, absolutely awful, ignorant, stupid jerk of a pastor. He was like, women are like basically made to make babies. And when that journalist was like, well, do you have a problem with me being a journalist? He was like, not necessarily. And like the way that they were talking to the men, do you think women should lose their right to vote? Yeah, I'm with that. I think we should vote as a family. Basically saying, no, the men of the house should have that vote. Mm, mm. And now, like with Project 2025, I believe it's like the Save Act or whatever. Yeah, it's like with voting, if all of that passes, how many women will lose their right to vote because their name has changed and it doesn't match? But then again, we have conservative women literally trying to take away women's right to vote when it's just like, if you, and some women who only vote because they say they want to like cancel out another woman's voice. And part of me is just, I'm so disgusted with that because it's just like, if you want to be the conservative woman at the house, if you think you should just sit down and shut up, go sit down and shut up and mind your business. But there are some women in the world who don't want to live your life. You're so determined to force women to live your life. And now we're at a point where they want to create marriage camps. So women will start making more babies or marry early and make babies. They want to make it a law to the point where, oh, you can get money for your kids as long as you stay married, as long as you have kids with the same person. But we're too busy arguing. And the conservatives were just like, no, we only want it our way. If you want to marry early, marry early. If you want to have more kids, think about it this way. Long term, if you guys keep doing what you want to do, the population will switch because you're going to raise your kids to be conservative. You're going to teach them, because just know that with education, look at what they're doing with our education. And also pay attention to the racism and stuff, because they did post this advertisement about like making America blah blah blah, you know, that stuff or whatever. And it was a classroom back in like the 50s of all white children doing like the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever. Yeah, look that up. I think they did this like last week or whatever. Yeah, it's we just started the second week of March, so I think it was like the first week of March. So but anyway, we are too busy judging each other, and we have one life to live. And some women don't want to live with kids or don't want to take time with kids. They want to travel. They want to start a business. They want to do what they want to do. How come men are allowed to do that? And there some of the religious like people are going to say, because in the Bible, like Eve was made from Adam so that they can make babies. So that is what she was made to. Okay, well, it takes an Adam as well. And so, and that, because that's another, like, people judge women for having the career and then having to sometimes step away from the house. And but then a guy can travel, like trucking and everything is dominated by men and everything, but they can drive for weeks at a time and they don't get judged. But then when the man takes care of the baby, they're like, oh, you're babysitting. He's the father. What in the world do you mean babysitting? No, 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 no. But then women get judged. They, like, if the woman is not with the kids, she is put down. But the man isn't. The man's like, oh, you're providing, you're doing this. But then, even with today's economy, when the Republicans are making the rich richer, and it was really amusing because in 2024, during that election, or the, like, you know, like black women kept saying he's lying. Black women, we 92%. Oh, if you're part of the 92%, hey girls, hey. But it's really just crazy because we kept telling you that he's lying. And you guys kept laughing at us, putting us down, and stereotyping us, and being racist and bigoted to us, telling us to be quiet, or that you have like black exhaustion or whatever. But now look, do you have debt exhaustion now? Are you tired of the credit card bills now? Are you tired that you have to choose between your mortgage, your car insurance, and all of the and some of the other bills? Are you a little sick because you ran out of sick days? And are you sick and tired because maybe you can't afford child daycare for your children, and or your children are asking you for things and you can't come out of pocket, or to the point where they need lunches, and back in the day you were like, I don't want all kids to get free lunch, because it's like they don't need it. That's a parent's job. How's that doing for you now, especially with the gas prices now? It's like, where are you getting that extra money from? Did you have an emergency account to begin with? Did you? And oh, yeah, I'm going to be a little petty, but with a lot of my exes who have children who mocked me and told me a woman's not supposed to invest money, it's not feminine. A woman's not supposed to own stocks. Your job is to spend that money to be pretty. You're supposed to spend that money on your hair and nails. You're supposed to be eye catching to me. So, what you're going to do is take that money out, and we're going to either pay for a cruise, or you're going to buy, or I'm going to tell you what clothing to buy for me so that I will love to look at you more. These are all things that different men, and they've said so many other things. I should probably have a whole episode or even a series just on story times of that. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but women are too busy judging and blaming other women, and it's annoying and frustrating because and the thing is, I probably do judge a little bit because it's like I have witnessed and seen how men will treat women, and or when I like figure out a guy and I find out he's lying, or how he's using me and different things, or how he trapped me, or blackmailed me or whatever, or harassed me and things. It's like, from experience, from a millennial, I'm trying to help like other millennials who might be going through this and they know they're not alone. But then Gen Z, and then in the future Gen A, on how to make sure you do not end up in the same boat that I was in. Because I know how hard it is. I know how some of these men will treat you like absolute garbage and then turn it around on you, gaslight you, lie to you, be narcissistic. It's like, I recently found, like, because I kept saying, once I find the last messages from my ex, I want to share with you guys. And see, that's gonna, like, see, with Chris and him, I'm gonna have to edit them because it has their, like, part of their identity in there. And I'm like, dang it, I wish I renamed him before I took like the shots or whatever. But I might do that later. But oh yeah, it's not gonna have the time though. But either way, I'll figure it out. But yeah, with these men, like reading their text messages. It was like one lie after another lie after another lie, and everything that happened, they tried to twist things and turn it on me. And this is why I'm saying, like, men already blame us for everything. So why do we have to hate each other even more? Why are we judging people? Like, because, like I said, like, I probably judge a little bit because I judge those who ridicule everybody else that's not like them. Because for the conservative women, I try to have your back. I try to be like, okay, if you want to stay at home, stay at home. If you want to just have the babies, not have a like traditional job, whatever. But I do say, like, okay, either with a prenup, treat it like a job, baby. Because if you're cooking and cleaning and taking care of the babies, guess what? Those are all like, if you didn't do it, he would hire someone to do it. So in the prenup, have it as many years equals this, and put an amount that's reasonable. Don't be crazy with it, and that's a way so at least you could be safe. Because some men, they don't want you to work because they want you to feel like you have to do as he says. The money is the power. Just like with government, just like this country, money is power. Once someone has so much money, people look up to them. Like money is respect. And so men want to make sure you lose all of your power, all of your respect, all of your voice, because people won't listen to broke people. Because people want to listen to people who they want to image and they want to be like. Just like when I've said in earlier episodes, I think it was late last year, how it's like a mirror, a reflection. You listen to people you want to be like, that resemble you or resemble your spirit, your goals, and like intuitions and things like that, or whatever. Yeah. And so, like, with just with life, with influencers, with so many other things, like, that's who you target. But if you're going to be like conservative type, if you're going to be the conservative type, honey, baby, like, I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, like, the only reason I judge a little bit is I want you to be safe. I don't want it to the point where you feel like he has all like, because once he has all the power over you, it's like he's going to tell you everything that you have to do. And you're not going to be able to afford to leave. And they say the most dangerous part in a relationship is when it's time to leave. We've seen it in so many of the Dateline and other like reality crime shows. Once that person is trying to leave, that's when it gets dangerous. And so, especially financially, because if you can't afford to go somewhere safe, if you can't find one of those like homes to go to for women or women with kids and everything, it's like if you don't have family that will make sure that you're safe. And so that's the only reason and I feel bad for judging, but when I watch some of the YouTube videos of conservative women from my generation or Generation X, and all of a sudden their ex-husband wants to divorce them and leave them for another woman, or they get caught cheating and now the woman's just like, no, I can't do this anymore. But now she doesn't have any work experience, she doesn't have anything on her resume, she has no money, so now she has to work for minimum wage at a place just to try to survive, and some of them end up living in their car. And so that's why I say either do it like the salary way, or make sure your name is on everything. Make sure you're like, if you're newly married, or not, and not even newly married, if you've just been married, make sure your name is on that house. Make sure, because I know, yeah, there possibility of being in debt and things like that, but at the same time, it's like, or even if you have a business, make sure your name is on some of the items with that business. And I know some women will be like, oh yeah, but what about if it goes bankrupt? What about this? What about that? And it's just like, well, if you're the housewife and you're the cheerleader, you're the support vessel, you're like, I mean, there's ways where you can, like, it's like you might just want to be at home. I understand that. But it's like sometimes if you're having financial situations, you need to buckle down, sit down, and budget and figure out, what about cheaper groceries, or look up recipes with cheaper ingredients, or ingredients that will last longer or higher shelf life, or getting the generic brand. I know to some people that's a scary movie, but yeah, it's like, ooh, generic. I have no problem with you, like, shoot, I'll use generic in a minute because I know how to season. I don't care. But anyway, oh, especially Aldi, Trader Joe's. Oh, those are my two favorite stores. But anyway. But we judge each other way too much. And I only talked about mostly children and jobs, because even back to the children, some women want kids, but they're not able. But then people want to judge them and act like, oh, it's your fault. Sometimes it's the doctor's fault. It's like, if you know about my disability, you know. Like, and again, I have over 300 hours. So start catching up. I have been through so much with doctors, and doctors basically accusing me of being a liar. But results don't lie. All of the tests I took, yeah, those tests don't lie. Yeah. Just like Shakira's hips don't lie, my test results didn't lie either. And so with like when people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, like they try to judge women who don't have kids. If you don't know their story, shut the crap up. And this is one reason I will never judge a woman for having so many kids or no kids or one or two kids. Like, I will never. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to ask, are you happy? Are you satisfied with your life? Have you smiled today? Have you had a hug today? Those are the questions I want to ask because I want to make sure it's like if you haven't had a hug today, hug somebody. That is some of the best like medicine you can have. Is a nice deep hug. It's like, and that was even on, I think, a dating show, whatever. They had to, there was a relationship coach, and the couple had to first look at each other in the eye and like take deep breaths, I think, and then do the. I'm gonna look up the stuff because there's a few versions of it, but part of me I'm like, oh, I want to test that with my honey. It's like, to me, I think that would be really amazing to do, you know, because even like kind of like communion. I'm like, oh, if we can do that like every first like Monday or two, like or sometime throughout the week or whatever, it's like that's our schedule. Like, oh honey, it's the first like this day of the month. It's time for our exercise. I think that could help relationships. Is that off topic a little bit, but at the same time, like with some women, like sometimes having babies is stressful. Sometimes it might be even the stress of performing and doing that. You never know what the situation is. And again, sometimes it's because of some of these doctors are terrible. They are. It's like, listen to my episodes. And I still have more stories to go and everything, but and I'm gonna get so patty. So patty. And I'm going to start talking about how medical schools need to change and start doing better because of their treatment, especially of Black women, after everything I have been through. Ooh, after everything I have been through. And they're still being stupid too, till this day. It's like I can't say, like, ooh, one day, like, I will say what's going on right now too, but who? But some women want to be moms, but it might not be their fault. And some women who are going to adopt and foster. And so many people want to say be against abortion and things, but then when they put their child for adoption, they get judged. But then if they're not able to take care of the child, some people don't care. Like I won't forget when Tesla owner's mom, I was like, Elon, yeah, that jerk. Like, in my opinion, he's a disgusting. Um, his mom was just like, well, just don't go to the movies. Just don't do this, don't do that. And it's just like, okay, this coming from the mother of the richest, like, whatever. Girl, stop. Like, we first started with a one bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And then we moved, like, yeah, it's like, I've heard a few of her videos. I don't have anything nice to say about her. So am I judging her? Yeah, because she disgusts me. Yeah, okay, see, there's some exceptions. There's some exceptions. But yeah. And I'm gonna talk more about this, but yeah, with some women, some like they were like, oh, you'll change your mind, you'll want the baby. The disrespect. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.